Okay, this is witnessing day 2. So, still finding that on this program that I'm on, the missions are being released daily, and I'm not sure how exactly it goes, but I'm starting to get a theme. Is evolving that it's going to be all about public declaration on the journey to shedding the identity that is getting in the way of me being able to just be who I am at the level of soul, at my heart level. Okay, so with that said, I'm reckoning this is going to be a bit of a 5-day series. Day 1 started yesterday, and I'm going to call it Can I Get a Witness? So thank you so much for taking the time out to be a witness for me and to view this journey. As I said, it's a 5-day program of shedding. I don't understand it all yet, but let me see if I can give you a bit of an appraisal of the context of what is up. So in my video yesterday, I shared with you a part of the persona that it is that I'm losing, and as you'll know, if you've spent any time with me, if you've done any work together, it's all about layers being removed at a time. So the layer that I was working with in removing yesterday was I am selfish, and beneath that lies why is it never about me? So the insidious ways in which our identity builds itself, right? And then we operate out of that. So today it was getting to another layer of the core of identity. What happens as you are moving through the process of removing layers of identity as you get to your true self? There's going to be a point where you're kind of split in half, right? You're not quite where you want to be, and you're not where you were. And what is revealed there is a bit of something that's going on in the middle, this identity split. It's described as the rebel archetype, where you basically set yourself up with an enemy. Okay, so the idea is, and this was a difficult one, so I apologize, I am probably really explaining it very poorly. I'm still trying to get my head around it, but the point of it is that as the rebel, as we get to that layer that is the rebel, you could find yourself being super judgy against a person or a group of people or a way of being, like really judgy, like really judgy. It properly irks you. Okay, and you're super judgy about this person or way of being or this group of people because of the way that they behave, whilst secretly either doing the same thing that you're judging against or wanting to be able to do what they're doing. Okay, and I think you can instantly see how that would create a great deal of inauthenticity in your way of being, right? So the mission today was to look into, to find, now that we've worked through that first layer, the persona, look to where the rebel is at play, where that demand for an enemy, so that you always have something to play against that basically just makes you feel better about yourself. And honestly, this was not an easy one for me to find. I had to work really hard. And then I witnessed myself whilst driving on the road today. I spend a lot of time driving on the road. This may occur as silly. I was told that even the smallest recognition of this is good enough. So this is what it's going to be. But I spend a lot of time on the road, and I really do have a thing against BMW drivers. Even if as I say it sounds hilarious. I actually set it up as something that I want to do. I want to do my advanced driving training so that I can drive as recklessly as BMW drivers do, whilst being in control of my vehicle at the same time. I'm always cursing BMW drivers. In particular, I've actually renamed the vehicle the Bully Magnet Wagon, because I really do find that whenever I'm witnessing like reckless, terrifying driving by others. They always seem to be driving a BMW. So there's a couple of things that's going on there. One is, I really wish I was driving a BMW. Well, actually, not really. Just a posher car. I don't really actually like, not the new look BMWs. They I don't know, they look really beastly, the new ones. But some of the classic ones are very nice. My dad used to have a classic one, the 320i. Yeah. And another is that I actually wish I had the balls to drive as recklessly as I see some of these BMW drivers doing on the road. Like, the way they cut in and out of the traffic, and they're always really up against the arse of my little Toyota Prius, forcing us to get out of the way, which I hate that so much. And sometimes I do, hog the right-hand lane just a little bit longer than I should, just because right up my arse, and I hate that. So there you have a demonstration of a judgment, a loathing, an upset, whilst secretly wishing I could do the same thing. But, I just don't have the balls to push my little Toyota Prius as hard as they push their ultimate driving machines. So the mission called for you to witness this about yourself, and then to allow yourself to behave how you wish you could behave. So I witnessed it and I gave it a go. And the idea is that in the behaving how you want to behave, pay attention to all of the feelings that's raging through or running through your body. Pay attention to all of the thoughts. Pay attention to, how you respond. And don't try to suppress it. Don't try to, wiggle your way out of it. Don't try to apologize for it. Just be with the moment and pay attention to what's going on. So I did something that I would never normally do. I found myself in the wrong lane on a road that went from 3 lanes into 2, and the right-hand lane turned into right turn only, and I needed to go to the left, and the traffic was backed up, and I was in the wrong lane. I was in the right-hand lane, and ordinarily, honestly, I try very hard not to be an inconvenience on the road, even when I've made just a small simple mistake like that. And I will witness the drivers of the bully magnet wagons pushing their way in without a care in the world, and I would just never do that. I'd actually take the right hand turn and find another way to get to where it is I'm going. I put myself to great inconvenience rather than anybody else. So playing the game, I stayed in the right-hand lane, put my indicator on, and tried to, get myself over into the right lane, and nobody would let me in. I was boxed in by a massive juggernaut, a trailer, whatever, delivery, big old delivery truck, and a white van that was actually colored green, and there was another truck there. I remember it was a DHL truck, and he was just like, not letting anybody in. I'm not doing it. You've been sat in the wrong lane. And I was like, I need to get over to that lane. I'm committed. I am. The end choice is that the end of my choice is to meet the end result, which is to get over to that lane without driving all around the houses to correct the mistake that I had made. And so I did. I went all the way down to the end of the junction, and I sat there with my indicator on, like listening to all of the beeping of the horns, everyone, because I was blocking the traffic, wasn't I? So they were all sitting behind me, beeping their horn, telling me to get out of the way. And the guys on the left wouldn't let me in, and the guys behind me just beeping, and I'm sitting there feeling every inch of this, thinking, oh my God, this is just so horrible, because I'm in the wrong. I very much feeling like I'm in the wrong. And even though myself, when I'm on the road, I let people in all the time. I let them in all the time. Why not? But, mistakes get made, and you know what? I've never not made it to a destination at the end of the day by letting a few people in. So I don't get I don't feel a way about that, but I did feel a way about creating, the traffic that was building up behind me. But I played the game, and I sat there, and I felt everything, and I felt, the embarrassment. I felt the humiliation right there in the center of my chest. I felt everything get hot and red and crawl its way up my neck, crawl its way up my cheeks, up to my ears. And just, my hands were shaking as with each beeping of the horn. I was just like, oh my God. It felt like, this, honestly, it must have taken, mere half a minute, I guess, maybe 30 seconds of discomfort, but it honestly felt like an eon of time until finally somebody let me in. And not only did they let me in, but it was like a massive wide gap that was left for me to then be able to take up the right position in the left-hand lane, and then continue on my journey. And it was a while before the embarrassment, the upset, the humiliation, the sorriness wore off. It was a while before it wore off, but I just to sit with it rather than try to suppress it, try to push it down, try to avoid it. It was very real, and then it passed. As they say, this too shall pass. One of the pet peeves of the guide, mentor, shaman, coach that I'm working with on this journey of shedding, she hates it when people say sorry. She's like, save sorry for when things are really, really important. Don't use sorry just because you're a little bit late or whatever. For those things, say surprise, because something happens, because stuff happens. That's life. Stuff happens, right? And maybe we should be a little less precious about these small transgressions, because we know we'll all walk in this journey together, and it doesn't all mean anything about you. It's just that stuff happens. So she talks about how when you use sorry, especially when you use it flippantly for all manner of small transgressions, what you're doing is you're wanting to avoid the upset, right? You're wanting to avoid being with the emotion of what has been created by the transgression. Especially if you say it and you really, really don't mean it, it's totally meaningless. So rather than being sorry about it, and it's the word sorry, I don't think it's necessarily about the intention, it's about use of the word, right? Where you just use the word without giving it much thought or much meaning. It's just like, don't do that. Just really be with the emotion, the feeling, and take the lesson. And so that was my experience today, being with the rebel, and of course then I was called upon to share my experience in a public place. So once again, thank you very much for being a witness for me in this space. I do really appreciate it. So like I said, it's a 5-day journey. This is day 2. So I'm guessing there's going to be 3 more invitations for me to share publicly. So I ask you to be with me on this journey, be the witness, because it has to be viewed. It has to be seen by others in order for it to, be real of any kind. It has to be expressed into the world, by words. So that's why I'm sharing it. And of course, you don't have to watch it, but I'm glad that you are, if you've made it this far, particularly as I'm going into 13 minutes. As you know, I'm doing it completely unedited. So I'm going to take my leave now, and no doubt I'll be back tomorrow with Can I Get a Witness? Part 3.